because your mindset's everything. Telling yourself that you can and you believing in yourself is not an easy thing. You're not just born with these things. You have to program your mind to the things that are good for you. And it's easier to read a quote or listen to somebody say something, but you need to say good things about yourself. You need to feel secure and believe and love yourself, because the reality is if you sit around and wait for somebody to do it for you, you're going to live a very sad life because you're going to be heartbroken one too many times.
Hi, this is Doug Poirier. Welcome to this episode of Thundercast. And today my guest is Candy Madina, personal fitness trainer. How are you, Candy?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Doing good. It's appropriate that you're here today because, as I was just telling you before we started, I got a little fluffy over the last 4 months. I had a diet accident. That's the only way I can describe it. Yeah, so more to the point. So why don't you tell us real quick a little bit about you and what it is you do and what type of clientele you look for.
So I started my fitness journey in 2020 during the pandemic. I started working out at home, and then as soon as the gym opened up and I fell in love with the process of how I felt, I fell in love with the gym and the results and how it made me feel. And then from there on, I started helping out people feel the same way. And it's been an interesting journey from here.
What's your favorite, workout routine in terms of, like, you do squats? Those seem to be your go-to full body workout. I mean, is that the one you like the most?
My favorite, I want to say, it's deadlift. I love deadlifts. It's a full body exercise. You engage every single muscle of your body, and the challenge behind your weight, lifting more weight than your own body weight is exciting and challenging. It's
Yeah,
the fun part for me.
I can't say that I can do that anymore. I don't think I've done that since I was a much younger man.
Yeah, I think we do. I think we all have the ability to. It's just a matter of practicing it every day. It does have a lot of challenges within itself, like everything else in life.
Right. So what started you on your fitness journey? What motivated you? What was the impetus that said, "Hey, I'm just gonna be, go to the gym every day and crush it, and then, start training other people"?
Well, for most, not for all, but it's usually like some type of crisis hits and some type of emotion that you feel like when you're feeling lost, I should say, and you're trying to find out what it is that you feel in yourself. And through exercising, I was able to acknowledge and learn those things about myself and falling in love with myself. It's been an amazing journey.
Do you find that working out helps your mental focus?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When I can go and I show up for myself before showing up to the world, I am a better person, not only for myself, but everyone around me.
Yeah, I find the same thing about me. I had a good run over the summer with my workout, and then I kind of messed up with the diet. I think I told you it was like a diet injury. I was doing fasting. I was doing intermittent fasting, was working fantastic, and then I decided to do a 5-day fast, which was really great for my insulin resistance, being a type 2 diabetic, and that was amazing. And then I was like, wow, let's see how I can really hurt myself, in hindsight. And then what I did was I started fasting every other day. So it was basically 8 hours of eating, 36 hours off. In about 3.5 weeks in, I realized that my metabolism had completely crashed. Like, no energy, no will to do anything. And, at that point, the only thing you could do is eat your way out of it, right? Just to get your metabolism back up. And then it becomes loss of motivation. And, I've slowly turned it around, but it's 4 months later. 4 months later, and it's yeah. I guess you got to be careful about what you do. But I know for me, when I work out, the mental focus and acuity that I get from it afterwards is awesome. I really do enjoy it. What kind of people do you train usually? Do you train people who are just starting out, people who have weight loss goals, people who want to have strength goals, muscle size goals?
It's usually starters and people that want to lose weight. For the most part, it's a lot of people that have gone through a wave, ups and downs of weight, and they're trying to keep themselves stable and consistent. So that's usually my audience, needing keeping them focused and coming up with a routine and a healthy lifestyle is usually the guidance that they would want.
And you recommend a lot of protein when people are starting out?
If they're doing heavy lifting, it depends. Some people want to maintain and just stay healthy, and then you have others that are looking for body goals where they want bigger legs, bigger glutes, stuff like that. So
Bigger glutes
it
seems
just,
to be a popular thing among women these days. Everyone wants bigger glutes.
yes, it's so funny because I've been working out for so long and I love doing legs. And I've never, and I work out pretty much every muscle in the leg and not my glutes though. And then this year in December, last year in December, I was like, you know what? Come next year, I'm going to focus on my glutes and I'm going to get glute focused and I want to see what they can look like because it's a very, very, very hard exercise. The glute is a very hard muscle to get into and it's it's not fun doing glutes. There's a lot behind it. So I'm like, you know what? I want to see what I got.
What do you recommend for a pre-workout? Do you take a pre-workout drink?
So I used to take pre-workout. Right now, I'm in a season where I want to feel in control of my body. So I want to be able to not put things in my body so I can to not get a reaction out of it, if that makes sense. Like I want to be able to not rely on something so I can just do what is required out of me without being dependent.
Yeah, I think taking a break from stuff is important. I used a pre-workout that I found online, and I just could not believe how much it helped me. Like it gave me the energy. I mean, it had caffeine, but it had creatine and all this vitamin B's and all this stuff you needed for building muscle and having energy. And
Mhm.
I was blown away. I was literally blown away. There's actually three of them that you mix together. It became super expensive, but I was blown away
Mhm.
by the results. Like I couldn't believe it, and which is why
Mhm.
I'm very disappointed with myself that I hurt myself with the diet because I was really doing well. Like I could actually begin to see muscle growth, which is at my age is amazing, right? And
Absolutely.
I was trim, and now not so much. I got a dad bod going on. I don't mind rocking a dad bod. People don't really care, but I like being thinner.
Your self-image, when you feel good about yourself and you look good, you project different energy because when you look good, you feel good and nothing else or no one else can really bother you, honestly. You feel so secure within yourself that you it's very hard to value opinions, especially negative ones, about whatever is going on or in your life and what you're trying to perceive with what you got going on in a particular moment, whatever that can be. And you go through things in life and it's the way you challenged yourself and the aspect of, oh, I want to do something new. Like that's part of our growth. Like if you don't challenge yourself and you don't push your body to see what you can do, you'll just never know what your mental capacity is. So you reached a point and you did things and you grew mental strength behind everything that you did. And that's something no one can take from you.
I find
Now
that
you
to be
have to
absolutely
create,
true.
yeah, and you have to create, and then you create yourself in a whole different aspect where now you're in a different season and you're stronger and you're better. And yes, you had your challenges, but that challenge is going to make you so much stronger because you grow out of your pain. Unfortunately, we grow from our pain. And that pain that you encountered and the lack that you feel that you're experiencing now, you're going to get back up and you're going to be way better than you were before. It's just a different, you just tried something new and there's nothing wrong with trying something new, especially if it's to better yourself.
Right. I find there is definitely a mind body connection and emotions, right? So mental, emotional, and physical benefits from working out. I find I'm more lucid and I'm calmer, I'm less reactive, especially if I can get my eating down perfect, right? And that's always the challenge, right? Because if you're losing weight, you have to modify your eating as you go and your needs change. Like then if you go to build muscle, you have to modify your eating again and your vitamin intake. And there's a lot to juggle. What do you recommend people should do in terms of supplements and eating? Like do you recommend certain types of foods and macros and vitamins and supplements?
My biggest one is a multivitamin. A multivitamin, magnesium, turmeric, and vitamin C. 'Cause we lack so much vitamin C given all the seasons that we where we live and all the different seasons. It makes an impact on our vitamin C levels and all that good stuff. There's so many types of vitamins out here, but keeping the list short and sweet sometimes makes it easier to stay consistent because so much of anything it's easy to feel overwhelmed and forget or not be in the mood or leave it for later. And that's usually what we do because we love to negotiate with ourselves with things that are good for ourselves. And it's horrible.
I do that. If I don't get up and work out first thing in the morning, it's not going to happen.
Right. So you already know that about yourself. So
Yeah.
that's a win-win right there because the first thing and the priority to that is like knowing yourself. Like, okay, I know this about myself. So not knowing is the scary place.
Right.
And knowing it makes it so much easier.
When you write out a workout plan for somebody, do you author the whole plan so that they have what days they're going to do what workouts and how many sets, how many reps? And I guess, what the biggest question I have is how much rest should people do between sets?
It depends on the person and it depends on what they're looking for because there's that higher intensity workout where you're working out by the minute, and then there's workouts where you're working out to gain muscle where you're doing the sets a little slower, you rest a little longer, and you're lifting a little heavier where you're adding on weight as you're pushing through. So it varies on the person's background. I feel like I judge it more on the person's background and their lifestyle previous because there's people that have had body injuries and they're fearful of lifting weight. They're fearful of making certain body movements. So I guess a lot of it is helping the person overcome that fear is where I find more joy because I remember once being that person where I had back injury from a car accident and I used to love seeing people lift heavy and I was like I want to be able to do that one day, but I was scared to hurt my back. And as much as I wanted to do the exercise correctly or at a moderate weight, my mind would play tricks with me and would not allow me to do the exercise because I didn't want to hurt my back. So a lot of it is I get to know the person's background and see what they like to do. And then I modify their workout in that format. In regards to rest, it varies. It could be every other day. It could You can work out 3 times a week, 4 times a week. I personally, I work out Sunday through Friday. And then I like to take breaks Friday and Saturday. But recently I've started going on Fridays and I'll go on Fridays, but it's not so much working out, it's more of a little cardio and stretching. So my mobility, keeping up with my mobility and making sure that I'm able to be as flexible as I possibly can.
Some of the best weight loss that I've ever had was when I was doing HIIT training twice a week. So I do it on my off days. I would do a total of 7 to 10 minutes. So I do 30 seconds of running as hard as I could, and then I'd take a minute and then I'd walk for a minute. And
Yeah,
those just doing that just burns so much more calories over the week.
you do.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it was enormous. It was a game changer for me when I started doing that. So even though I'm a little fluffy right now and I got the dad bod, I know I can get it to melt off. But I'm going to take a different strategy on the diet this time. I think what I'm going to do is I've already started. Actually, I've already got it mapped out, and I'm going to eat my maintenance calories for my current weight. And then I'm going to use my exercise every day to push above that for the weight loss. So the weight will come off a little slower, but it'll be more consistent. And I think in doing it this way, I don't have to worry about rebound, and I'll get more of a permanent weight loss solution as opposed to the crazy fasting. I don't know. I was having so much fun with the fasting. Like, I was loving the results. I knew as soon as I woke up one day and I'm like, holy crap, I just crashed my metabolism. I knew I was in trouble. I've been just trying not to shame myself for it, but my energy's back. I'm ready to do it. It's just now reestablishing the habit of going to the gym 3 to 5 days a week.
Yeah, I mean, the hardest part is getting there. Literally, the hardest part is getting there. And once you're there, you're ready to rock and roll. You're ready to take the world on. And it's your own world, and it's where you're having your therapy session and connecting your mind and your body, and you're in tune with yourself, and the world's disconnected.
Right? What would you say to someone who's just getting started? So, say someone's on a weight loss journey. What would your advice be to them for just starting out?
To just make it to the gym. And even if you don't have a routine and if you don't feel like it, even if you go to the gym and you're just watching people, just being in the environment and staying consistent and making it there, you're going to get to a place where the energy that you're surrounded by, you're going to connect and you're going to want to do the things that people are doing, and you're going to want to feel the energy that people are doing. And it's not going to be easy because the hardest part is getting out of your house. Regardless if you're getting up at 4 in the morning or if you're going at 6 in the afternoon and it's dark out, either of those hours of the day, it's hard. It's really, really hard. And it's even harder to stay consistent because you can go and feel really, really good about yourself and what you did and how it made you feel. Come the next day when you're sore, are you going to really have that same energy? So it's all about mental toughness, knowing that you can, you will, and you must. You just got to go for it. You can't, it's one of those things. It's like five, four, three, two, one, and just make the move. Because if you sit there and you think about it, you're going to negotiate. And 9 times out of 10, it's the voices in your head that try to manipulate you and control you. And I'm a strong believer that God's giving you everything that you need, and you don't need anything or anyone to do what is required of you. You just need to make the move.
Do you think there are any good mental strategies for preparing yourself, like the night before or when you get up, just to motivate yourself, like planning or even journaling or anything like that?
Of course, how you speak to yourself plays an extreme impact on your mindset, because your mindset's everything. Telling yourself that you can and you believing in yourself is not an easy thing. You're not just born with these things. You have to program your mind to the things that are good for you, and it's easier to read a quote or listen to somebody say something, but you need to say good things about yourself. You need to feel secure and believe and love yourself, because the reality is if you sit around and wait for somebody to do it for you, you're going to live a very sad life, because you're going to be heartbroken one too many times. And affirmations and writing down your emotions and listening to audios and to books and reading has made a drastic impact on my personal development. I'm currently reading The Millionaire Next Door for the second time, and it's so refreshing. It's so refreshing.
Are there any like good books? I read the 4 Hour Body, and I found that that was really useful. That particular book. Do you recommend any books for working out like that?
I don't really get into workout books. I'm more into the personal development side, because it's more about how you feel about yourself and the energy that you project. Everything's mindset. If you wait for somebody to motivate you, that doesn't last long. And when you get to a place when you start feeling secure about yourself, you become unstoppable.
I like reading as well. If you get the right, book on how to structure your life, there's so many self-help books out there, but it helps balance that, the workout
Mhm.
in your headspace, so you can set goals. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I just like to argue with people because that's a good motivation. I'm kidding.
Well, we all come from different backgrounds and we all have different stories, and we come from different cultures, and that right book, it just depends on what you feel, because once you start diagnosing or understanding what you feel and you start reading on your emotions, things start to clear up. Like the mental clutter starts to decrease, and there's a feeling of certainty and purpose.
So, what are your motivations other than I know you want to feel good and you want to look good? Like when you talk about purpose, like have you decided any purposes for yourself, like things that your other goals that you're striving for that working out just enables you to do? Like especially like financial goals or other personal goals?
Financial goals, absolutely financial goals, because a lot of our worries are financial. And if your finances align properly and your health is aligned properly, you have the way you carry yourself and the way you handle tribulations to life that are going to come your way are going to be different, because you start understanding that life is happening for you, not to you, like on a personal aspect. And a lot of times we feel attacked about the things that are happening, and not understanding that whatever is happening is for a reason, and how you handle it is how it defines you as a person.
And it's so funny you say it like that too, because I was just speaking with someone. I did a podcast a little earlier today with Danielle Blackmore, and she is a emotional intelligence coach, and she talks about you know people having an inability or difficulty taking responsibility for events that are in their lives, and it's a strange thing. It's a strange animal because most of us, when we have difficulty taking responsibility for a thing, it's because we've suffered a trauma in our past, and we don't want to feel that pain. And if we can just get past that, right, we can realize that most of the problems that we have in our life are really the lack of results that we have in our life, our belief systems and the things that we do and our behavior. So the example that she would give is people would get into an argument and one person would say, hey, look, I'm hurt because of this. And another person might get triggered as a result of that because they can't take responsibility for something that they said, especially when it's just someone setting a boundary. It's not even an attack. Because it's not an attack, we should just be able to say, hey, man, I'm sorry, right? But so many of us, and I'm certainly including myself in this, we can't take responsibility for it because we have an old pain, right? So therefore, we are now creating the pain or a new pain in this circumstance because we just want to be able to work together, right? And it could be an apology for anything, right? And I think the same is true for working out or any other difficulty that we have in our life. In order to affect change, we have to take responsibility for the fact that we got ourselves here. Like a really good example of that is I have a dad bod right now. Well, no one did that to me except for me. I'm the one that ate the ice cream. I'm the one that had the hamburgers. I'm the one that had the French fries. So I have to acknowledge that I had some poor eating habits over the past 4 months and then make a change and say, okay, look, I'm not going to do that. Because if I can't acknowledge it, I can't even say, well, what was the problem? Well, it was the food I put in my body. Well, who put the food in the body? Well, that was me. So what's the solution? Well, I need to put better food in my body. And so it's very interesting how our emotional intelligence will affect the outcome of anything that we do, especially working out, because that's really hard. So when we procrastinate, which is what I've been doing, right? Why am I procrastinating? Right? That's an emotional intelligence question. Because if I can answer that question, I can get to working out sooner, right? Rather than being the fat guy with a dad bod.
The amazing part is that you know all this.
Well,
And you acknowledge what's happening, and you know that you have to get to work.
So yeah, I'm not really hard on myself. I just say it that way to motivate myself because I know.
People have some interesting ways of motivating themselves. I've heard some things and I'm like, hey, if that works for you, go for it. But I'm like, listen, sometimes sometimes you do have to toughen up and you have to give yourself that talk like, all right, enough is enough. Like, we can't be playing all this nonsense. Like, you got to get up and you got to do the work because you got to go get it. It's not going to come to you. And you have to fight with the inner voice because a lot of it's just your inner voice and you let it win. So you have to just choose who's going to win that day. And every day is going to be a different battle.
Right.
And every challenge is going to be different. Every setting is going to be different. Every person that you meet is going to make you feel a certain way and things are going to be different. So many things play such a role on how you can overcome that inner voice that's telling you you can't, or leave it for later, or you don't need to, or just the self-sabotage that we do. Like, I don't believe in negative self-talk. I know people that do, and that's what helps them. But to attract abundance into your life, like, you speak into existence, that's what you're going to attract. And negativity it blocks all of your your abundance and your prosperity and who you are as a person and the way you shine light into the world. So speaking positive into yourself, it makes a drastic impact on how your mind plays those tricks with you every single day.
Yeah, I agree. Negative self-speak is not necessarily good. So I guess I could clean up some of mine. I have a question about gyms, and there's always this girl setting something up, and she's scantily clad, and it's like she's looking to be a victim of men looking at her. I don't even know if that's being victimized, so that she can rant about it. Now, fortunately, like I've been to a lot of gyms, I have never run into these women. Like I go to Planet Fitness and I go up here where I live and like everyone's just about their own business. Everyone does their thing. They're really polite. But have you ever come across that? And what are your thoughts on this behavior?
I've gone to a lot of different gyms, and for the most part, on the heavy lifting and especially the woman, they're pretty confident in themselves. So they're not really seeking that attention. Like the ones that acknowledge their strength and they know that they can lift. Like, and then there are the ones that are trying to obtain certain body types and they're focused on a certain body look and they're doing certain exercises to, yes, to attract certain attention. And there's a mental lack of confidence where, in order for them to feel whole or beautiful, sexy, they have
Say it.
to
It's gonna be all you.
wear certain things. They feel they need to wear certain things, and like a lot of the movements that you make at the gym, they're pretty sensual, and it could definitely can attract the wrong attention. But you do, there is those types of women that they're just looking for attention, but they go to the gym with a solid purpose, like and their solid purpose is not just, it's not to mentally better themselves on top of physically bettering themselves. And I feel like those two things go hand in hand. And you can see and you can tell when you're speaking to a woman if she's connected with her mind and her body. Because if she's a lot of women that are not connected with their mind and their body, the first reaction is they start talking about themselves a lot. And as human creatures, we all do. But when you approach someone and you're like, today's generation, the hardest part is a lot of women walk around with the quote unquote restless bitch face, which you don't know if she's in tuned with just herself and she's minding her own business, or she gets approached 300 million times a day, and the next person that approaches her, she's going to flip out on the next person where her energy is not so welcoming. And
If I may interrupt you for just a second, my experience is, like at the gyms I've been at, that all the women have just been taking care of themselves. The interactions are always polite. I never see anyone, like, because always looking around the gym. I never see anyone staring at anybody, right?
right,
Wish they,
right. Everybody's doing their own thing.
I wish they would stare at me, but I got the dad bod right now. But no,
Oh God.
like I just like it seems like an anomaly. I feel like it happens in California gyms with these girls who want to be influencers, who are just generating revenue on social media, creating controversy where it doesn't exist. And I'll tell you what's really funny is there's people coming out with these things that'll critique what's going on with them and totally crush them, which is, again, it's just feeding into the drama, but it's pretty funny when someone goes, look, she's pretending there. She's pretending there. The guy isn't even looking at her. And now she's going up and confronting the guy. So it's like, who's harassing who, right? I'm glad that in the areas that I'm at, that people are focused on what the gym is for, which is working out, feeling good. Occasionally, like, I'll tell you, I go to the same gym for so long now. Like, the guys that are there know me. So they're always talking to me. They're always saying hello. I run into a lot of friends, that they eventually go to the same gym. So it's healthy. It's not toxic. But if that ever happened at a gym, even if I wasn't involved, and I wouldn't go back to that gym, I'd call and ask for a refund and say, hey, it's a hostile environment, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's mostly this generation that struggles in that area. It depends on the time of the day, and it depends on the city and where you're located, because like there was a gym that I used to go to that it was close to a university and a high school. So you can just imagine what the environment was there like, that you could tell that people were there to look for somebody to hook up with, or to hang out, or to chat it up, or to check woman out, or whatever the case was. Like, you can just tell that they're not there to work on themselves. And it's like,
Right.
can you get out of my way, please? I need to use that machine. Like, we're all paying rent here. Can you?
I'm not a machine hogger. Like, I do my business and get out on the machines. But when it comes to doing when I'm on the benches and I'm doing my curls and my, all of my exercises. So this is what I do. This is why I asked, like, how much of a rest should you have between sets and reps? Because over the summer, I was following another program, and the advice was, take 2 minutes off, 2 to 3 minutes off between each rep, not the sets, but the rep. And so I'd sit there, right? And I would so I'm one of those guys.
That's a long time.
It is a long time, but I got to tell you, the results are phenomenal. I'm also older, right? So it makes little sense that I might need a little bit more recovery, right? And so the results were just phenomenal. I was blown away. And so I sit there. Now, no one has ever come up to me and be like, hey, stop hogging the bench, because it seems like everyone does it. But I hear that it's a no-no. For me, when everything's taken, I'll go to a machine, or I'll wait, or sometimes I'll go to the gym earlier or later.
There's certain gym energy that you're mindful of other people's space. And then there's people that just have no common sense. And then there's the ones that just have zero knowledge of how to behave in a gym. And then there's the ones that they feel like they own the gym and they're very entitled. And usually those are the hard body lifters, and there's some type of frustration they're trying to let out. You can definitely tell by the way that they carry themselves and they approach other people, which is like, why do you feel the need to put fear in people just to get a point across?
Right.
You need the machine, or you need the bench, or whatever it is that you need. You don't need to come off hostile.
I just ask, sometimes people will switch between two machines, and I'll need one of those machines, and I'm like, hey, do you mind if I jump in when you're not on it? And, I only got pushback. There is this one guy at Planet Fitness that thinks he owns the place, and he'll go in and he'll take one of the machines that where you could do multiple exercises, and he'll just go around it, and he won't let anyone else on it. And I'll just go over this. Hey, you're not doing this. Do you mind if I jump on? And he'll just give me this look. He'll just stare me down, and he'd be like, fine. And I just do it anyways. I mean, what are you going to do? Beat me up? So, but yeah, I mean, other than him, like, everyone at my gym is so cool. Like, I'm just, I'm blessed to have that at my gym.
I agree. I do too. For me, I go early in the morning, so it's mostly like the older crowd. So everyone that's there is like 40 plus, and everybody's super chill. Everyone's super laid back. Like, everyone is like attentive to each other and making sure that everybody's good, and good morning, and how are you, and how was your weekend, and da da da. It's like your second home. It's like your second family, and it's welcoming energy.
Yeah, I feel you. At this point, I usually like to wrap up the conversation. Is there any wisdom that you would part on to someone who's working out, whether they're new or whether they're established, that you think someone would benefit from?
Just show up for yourself. If you're gonna go get up and you're gonna go show up for a job and work for someone else, you have the ability and the strength to show up for yourself, because you owe you, and you have a contract with yourself, by yourself, for the rest of your life. And if you feel that it's so easy that you get up and you go to work for someone else, you can apply that same energy to yourself.
I like that. I love that. All right. So for our listeners, so we're going to have Candy's information below and when this posts on YouTube, so you can reach out to her if you feel you want to use her services or you have any questions for her. You'll be able to reach out, and if you have any trouble with that, you can always reach out to me here on Thundercast. Just leave a comment below. Candy, thank you for being here. Stick around. We'll do a little post show here, and we'll catch everyone on the flip side.